How are you, good sir?
Can't complain. How about you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
I'm itching to work on this website, but I don't know what we're gonna do yet. So,
And that's because of me, right?
kind of.
Oh, okay. I've been very sick this week, but I will get on it.
That's not an excuse.
It is not at all, but it is the reality. So
Acting like you got to rest or something.
I know I've had no choices last 2 days. Even I'm waiting on tea now for the call.
I was gonna say that while I love and appreciate all the work people are doing to set up the party, this minutia is so boring that I'm somewhat
Yeah,
disinterested.
yeah. This is not my part of it. Like I've realized today, like actually, all that I can do has kind of been done. Is really just about them sort of joining together and creating a thing. And it's like you're right, this is that boring part of the business meetings.
Yeah, for me, it's like just tell me what you need me to do, and
Get it done.
the rest of you can figure out the details.
And then I have an interview on Tracy's show tonight at 7 p.m., which is like of all the weekends.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, right. Only a couple of our friends in the waiting room today. This is interesting. Oh, there's more.
Let's see.
Oh,
Oh, I'm not co-host. That's why.
yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to rectify that. It used to just be a hard press that I can make co-host, but it's not letting me do that.
Are you not the host?
I'm the host, but it's not letting me make co-host. Like normally on my phone, I just hard press the name and it'll give me the option, but it's not doing that. Oh, that's interesting.
Greetings, everyone.
How's it going?
Hello, hello. Let's see. Wonder if it's the same link. Hello, everyone. We'll give it a few seconds and for folks to come into the room. Good to see you all.
Hello.
Yeah, I think you all should be able to come off mute. You don't have to sit there muted and polite. You can feel free to chit chat amongst yourselves while we wait for folks to arrive here. Wait, can you not unmute? Is that
Yeah, we
Oh.
can unmute.
We
How
can
you doing,
unmute.
Angela?
okay? There you go. Hello, hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Tracy, and everyone else. Hello from Indiana.
Hey, from Washington. Good to see everyone.
Hey, Ashton.
Hello from Denver.
That's my hometown, Denver in the house.
Right.
San Francisco.
Good afternoon from Aurora, Colorado.
Neighboring city to Denver.
That's right.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
There are some things I miss about Denver, but overall, I'm glad I'm not living there. Cost is too prohibitive.
Where do you live now, Paris?
Indiana.
Oh,
Yeah, Noblesville, which is just outside of Indianapolis. I still have family. Most of my family are in Denver. So I go back occasionally.
say that again on the cost. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, again, it's too exorbitant and too prohibitive. And
My
you
rent
know,
just went up yesterday.
right? Ironic. You know, the thing about Denver, people usually do not live where they work because they can't. They have to commute to work or telecommute, right? And it wasn't always that way. I don't know how many of you are actually from Denver or have been there for over 20, 30 years. It used to be a great place to live, establish a family, affordable, right?
Yeah, I count myself pretty lucky. I have about a 10-minute bike ride to work right now. And
Nice.
that's been working.
What part of Aurora? What part of Aurora? Old Aurora?
Yeah, I guess older Aurora. Yeah. Off of Alameda.
Alameda
Yeah.
and
Savannah. Yeah.
Working remote has been the greatest thing that ever happened to me in terms of work.
it definitely has its benefits, Tracy.
No nasty bathrooms. When I go to my bathroom, it's mine. That I know that's TMI, but I'm like, I cannot stand public bathrooms. I will not go to them.
Well, we had a hybrid meeting this morning of the Colorado Unity Party, and some were in person and most were online. I was in person, and after the meeting was over, I stayed and talked with somebody for about an hour and really got to know them. And that I couldn't do that with the people that were online because they'd already logged off.
You know what? I don't have to talk to them. I don't need to talk to them. Having a clean bathroom is more precious than talking to people.
That's what you call priorities.
Yeah, I got my priorities straight. Clean bathroom. Clean.
All righty. Brother, cool. I'll see you guys later.
Israel, you're kind of going in and out.
I am because I'm doing the thing I do, thinking and talking my thoughts out, but actually saying words. So my apologies.
If you guys aren't doing anything tonight, the Justice is Here podcast debuts today, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Hey, Trace, you want to put that in the chat?
Yeah, you know I could do that.
And I would be the first guest.
Yes,
Who's your first guest? Israel?
Israel is my first guest.
Oh, okay. Starting it off on a high note.
I'm the
Well, you
John the
still
Baptist.
excited.
Dr. Westbrook will be 2 weeks after me, so I'm the voice in the wilderness. Brother Mike, did you want to take the helm here, or?
I could do that, I suppose. At least here for the beginning.
Yes.
I think the point of today is to turn the helm of these proceedings over to the participants in the committee, if I am
I
correct.
am so excited about that, just so you guys know. I'm going to mute now.
Terrific. As am I. As am I. Okay. Well, when last we spoke, you all were going to go off to the Slack space and whatever other spaces you have to communicate together. Have you all, I guess for one thing, have we got a definite steering committee? Is there a list or something somewhere? Oh, I just realized I'm speaking from a blank rectangle there. Here I am. Have you got a list of steering committees? Is it the steering committee members enrolled, a specific list, so we know who's entitled to vote on the things? Presumably all of you all are here. Tracy or Dia or whoever knows, just pipe up. You can interrupt me, please.
Oh,
Where are we at?
this is Dia, and I posted a proposed agenda. We might want to look at that, adopt an agenda, and then move forward. You want me, if you'll let me share, or I can send it to David so he can share.
Yeah, I'm not hosting on this one right now. And my thought was initially to, if you all are ready to proceed immediately to choose a chair, that your group's chair could present the proposed agenda and you could just take it right from the top.
Can I share the agenda? Because it's all in there about how we identify who's going to be in the steering committee, and then we can
Is this the
vote for
group's
chairs.
is this a group agenda, or is this a proposal for the agenda that you are advancing, or is this something that everybody, is there a consensus on this?
I'm proposing the agenda, and at this time, because it's in a Google Docs, we can change it and then agree on it and move forward. So it's a proposed agenda, unless someone else has a proposed agenda.
Yeah, we should go ahead with that, as far as I'm concerned anyway.
Let me see if I can get
Is
that.
there any way to share it?
Yeah, I'm ready to share. Give me just a minute. Because
Yeah, I agree. It's a good agenda.
Yeah, she did share it in Slack, so we do have a copy of it.
And
Okay.
my problem is I have so many windows open right now. I'm trying to figure out where it is. Give me just a minute.
We'll be here when you find it.
Hold on,
Yeah.
just a minute.
That's good. That's part of the important political work to be done in this kind of operation, is talking about things ahead of time. Like when you have the big meeting for a group and you're finally going to sit down and adopt bylaws and stuff like that, you want to already have had all the conversations and answered all the questions, settled the disagreements, so that everybody can come in and vote yes and get on with the ceremony. But so that is good. I'm glad you all have got that kind of space and have been taking advantage of it. So I suppose the answer I'm looking for on that agenda is, when do I get to do you all the favor of shutting up and turning things over to one of you?
And I'm going to see if I can answer
I
that
see.
today. If we could do roll call, and if anybody wants to give a summary of last meeting, and while GFA National Party announcements are made, we can officially seat the committee from the chat, see who's wanting to be on the committee and who's just wanting to be an observant today. And actually, okay, so number 6 is operating team. That's the election of co-chairs. If we want to move that up, Mike, and as soon as we get that done, you can release the meeting if you want to the co-chairs. What do you think?
I was thinking perhaps a more simple expedient would be to discard the presumption that I should be the temporary chair until a chair is elected. If you've got a well thought out agenda and if everybody is comfortable with it, and then please speak up, y'all, if you do.
I move that Dia be our temporary chair. Let's have Mike be quiet.
Looking at the agenda
Thank you,
now,
Joe.
I second the motion.
To have Dia act as temporary chair and just take the lead from this point. Is there any dissent to that?
There's no dissent to that. I would just, in keeping with the co-chair model, I would ask that it be both Dia and Paris for the co-chair.
I shall leave that to the group.
Yes.
And take the win that I've got, that I am released from my duties. Thank you, Dia, for stepping up with that and for and relieving me of the necessity of speaking any further.
No, you sound too happy about this. Something's wrong. This is a step, right?
I am so busy. This is my 3rd of 4 meetings today.
Okay, I got you. I got you, then, Mike. I got you. I got you, brother.
And I would just be faking it. You clearly know the words to the song, so you should be conducting.
I sure would appreciate Mike's input, though.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
Been a good guy. Mike's been a good guy.
I didn't get to spend as much time as I would have liked with all of you during the campaign, so it's been really nice. But thank you for the hospitality. I am going to stay on the call here, but I'm going to practice the fine art of shutting the hell up. And good fortune to you all, and much love.
Thank you, Michael.
Yes, thank you, Michael.
We so appreciate
stay with us.
everything. We so appreciate.
We're gonna find you if you don't come next week and everything.
Yeah. So the first thing then I would like to do as temporary chair is to get some help. I don't know if Paris, you want to help me, or Ashton, or maybe Via to
I'll definitely help. Absolutely.
Okay, collect, if everyone put your, if you don't want your full name, I'm kind of not good with full names because I like to be called Dia Patah. That's not my government name. So if you tried to look me up, you need to ask Israel what my government name is. But if you would put your name in, whether it's first name, last name, what state you're here from, if you plan on representing anything other than that state, that would be great. And then if you want to be seated as a steering committee meeting at this meeting today, just put steering committee. If not, would you put observant? I'm thinking until we get a lot of our rules in order, there's no difference between a committee member and observant today. However, it would be great just for record keeping. So at this time, who can volunteer to collect that in the chat for us so that we can get a list of who is from where and whether they're wanting to be on the committee and who's being.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start collecting that information.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Paris. And Brother Israel, I know you're busy as well. You have the summary of the last meeting. I don't know if you want to do that. Otherwise, we could go into Slack and read it. Or do we need it? What do you guys think?
I mean, I'll leave it to the consensus of the group. I think everybody here on the call was here last week, so but.
Okay. And then the next item would be, are there any GFA National Party announcements? Anything we need to know while Brother Paris is doing that collection so we can officially seat the committee participants? And basically by seating them, I'll just ask if he would confirm who all's here from the committee, who's all here just observing, if that's what we want to do, or if we could just all read it in the chat, we can call that done. So are there any national party announcements? Okay, not hearing any?
Not, oh, yeah, I was gonna say not at this time, aside from we would hope on the 17th to be able to present this group in a public meeting. We will just do an all call for the supporters from the campaign and beyond. But aside from that, no.
17th February?
Yes, ma'am. You, Dr. West has agreed to join us that day. So I think 1 to 2:30 p.m. was the time we had set off.
1 to 2:30 p.m. on the 17th. Is that a Saturday?
I believe that's a Monday observed as President's Day. But also Dr. Huey P. Newton's birthday.
Okay.
Question, is that going to be Pacific Standard Time?
Sorry, ma'am, that's Eastern.
That's Eastern. 1 to 2:30 Eastern.
Yes, I believe that's the time Doc confirmed, but I will double check that, but tentative. But yes, I'm 95% sure 1 to 2:30, but I don't have my calendar in front of me.
What is that for on the 17th?
Just basically a public presentation of the group, maybe almost like a public meeting. So up until now, everyone is registered in lieu of sort of an open call for anyone who just kind of want to join and see the work that we've been done. That we've been doing, and I just want to put that out there for you guys. If there's some show or something that a run of show that you would like for presentation, but sort of our first public announcement, if you will.
Okay. Sounds like we have a party. So let's get this party started, right? Brother Paris, would you like to report on who is officially steering committee and who was participants, or should you just refer everyone to the Slack? What would you like to do at this time?
Yeah, I've got several people who raised their hand and want to be a part of the actual committee. We have Ashton Beavers, David Cochran, Todd Glanz, Elias Turner, Yasha, and if I say your name incorrectly, please feel free to say so. Joe Burnham, Via Brinkley, Janie Hamilton, Timothy Walter, and Reginald Morton. Those are the names I was able to collect. If there's any others, please let us know at this time. Rebecca can observe, okay? We've got several observers as well.
I didn't know if I missed. Did you say Jay? Illinois?
Janie or Jamie?
Oh, Jay, J-A-Y.
Jay. I did not get Jay, but I see Jay in here. So yes, we have Jay as well. Thank you, Jay.
Got you. Thanks.
Okay.
Anyone else? Go
I
ahead.
do want to leave room that I do have a few names that I have via email of folks who have expressed interest, including a couple who've been with us for the first few weeks who didn't make it today. And then in addition, we might want to do a double check on Slack for anyone folks who expressed interest, just so that we have a cohesive list. I know we can get rid of what we have today, but leave room to make sure we're completing that list.
That sounds good. I did see some people from Maryland, I think, and Michigan. I don't know if they're here that agreed to serve on the steering committee. So yes, we will definitely get them added. You know, I didn't ask if we wanted to adopt this proposal. At this point, this agenda, at this point, since we've seated the committee, we know who's participating as a committee member, who's participating as an observant today. We wanted to go forward in our minutes remaining to go through some proposals, maybe look at selecting or electing our co-chairs, our operating team, or whatever we want to call it, but we can call it operating team for now. Also look at forming some working groups, look at some milestones, and then be open to announcements and adjournment. Anybody have anything else they think needs to take priority, needs to be table till next week, anything like that in changing the agenda at this time? All right, hearing none. If you've been on Slack, you know I posted about 10, 11 proposals. And I'm going to switch over to those if I can. But because I'm sponsoring them, I need either Brother Paris or someone else to present them. And if there's any questions, I'm more than glad to answer them, but I don't think I should be presenting them and sponsoring them. Brother Paris, did you want to present them?
I'll be glad to step up and talk about the proposals. Since we're at that part of the meeting, Proposal 1, number of steering committee members. There shall be an unlimited number of steering committee members before rules adoption at the Constitutional Convention. New steering committee members may be seated on the first meeting of the month. So it's read. Do I want to continue to read all of them, or do we want to adopt each one at a time?
Can we ask if there's any questions, if it needs to be edited, and once we can hopefully agree by consensus, we will adopt it and move to the next one? Is that okay?
Anyone have any thoughts, questions?
Yeah, I agree with the first proposal, as stated, as it is.
Agree and seconded?
I agree as well.
As hard as I'm trying to be critical, I can't think of anything. It's perfect.
All right, Todd.
God, we love you, I swear.
Yeah, we've got the devil's advocate. Okay, Proposal 2, steering committee meeting participation. Any volunteer with the party is welcome to attend a steering committee meeting. However, only seated committee members will have access to unmute. Everyone else is welcome as observants and can be recognized to speak for purpose. Thoughts? Not? Someone want to speak up and accept this, and then we can have a second?
What does it mean, recognize to speak for purpose?
Yeah, if there's something you want to talk about specifically, right? That's
Can we clarify the meaning of that?
Good point.
As I proposed, because hopefully we can use most of our meeting to address agenda items, it would be a little organized if, for instance, we're on an agenda item and you want to speak about it, you would be speaking for purpose about that agenda item. I think when I wrote this, I was thinking there would always be time, like either before or after the meeting, to just talk about random things. But for purpose, I mean, if we're on an agenda item, you want to speak to that agenda item, that's for purpose. And you definitely should be unmuted. But let's say we're talking about fundraising, but you want to talk about something else that's not really on purpose. You see what I mean? That's not on the purpose for the agenda. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Could we clarify that they can unmute to speak on the scheduled agenda items, but not add like impromptu agenda items? Would that cover what you mean?
Yeah, I'm changing it now.
Yes, that's clearer. That's better, I think, too.
Okay.
And the only restriction right now is on unmute, right? So people can still raise hands and type in chat, and that way could be acknowledged by a committee seated member in theory. Is that correct?
I didn't track that. Sorry. Can you say that again?
Well, since you can still raise your hands or write in chat, like none of that is restricted by this proposal. So therefore that leaves room to, if you do want to speak, because the for purpose thing, as Dia just explained it sounds like if ahead of time you were, say, on a working group about something and pertaining to a particular agenda item, then you'd be expected to speak at that time. It doesn't really mean like because you're interested in that at that time you unmute. It means like you kind of ahead of schedule were already thinking you need to speak about something. But I'm asking in time, like if you write about something in the chat and then someone from the steering committee says, that's an interesting point, I'd like to hear about that, then can that person be unmuted? Does that, did that clear it up? Not really?
Looks like Dia's adding it to the document, so I'd say you're on track.
Okay.
So I changed that statement to everyone else is welcome as observance and can be recognized to speak on an agenda item when that agenda is in focus. Anyone wanting to put comments in chat or use gestures will be tracked and acknowledged. How about that?
I see it. One thing, jesters, the other jester with a G, I think is the one we.
Okay, I'm thinking of the clown jester.
Right, that's what threw me off.
No gestures, please. Okay, I probably am not. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you, Brother Jay.
Got it.
Okay, does that clarify or clear it up for everyone for adoption? Joe said that's his specialty. He's the jester. Okay, anybody want to move that we adopt this one? Second
Yeah. And I'll take it from here so that way you don't feel put upon.
Yeah.
Do we have a first and second for the adoption of this proposal?
Yeah, we should, yes.
Sure.
Ashton,
Second.
second. Okay, so it's been first and seconded. Okay, proposal number 3, steering committee meeting representation. Steering committee members are seated by the state, region, organization they represent. Every steering committee member must represent at least one state, region, and/or organization.
What do you mean by organization? My question.
I put that in there because, for instance, I'm very interested in coming to represent a caucus, the American Freedmen Affairs Caucus. So I may not be necessarily representing my state of Texas, but a organization of people who are interested in participating with Justice for All Party.
I have a question. So in the last meeting, there was discussion about there's this committee that we're basically participating in now that's forming the rules and then will dissolve. And then there will be a new like steering committee for the party. And I think it would be useful to clarify like which of those we're talking about, because especially if we're talking about stuff for what we're doing now, there's a bit of a chicken and the egg problem if we have to form other organizations within our states to participate in this.
Okay, I don't know if Mike is still on because I have so many windows up right now. I can't see who's on here. Mike, are you still here?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Question. Go ahead.
The purpose of this steering committee is to make decisions about what the eventual national committee will look like, including eventually figuring out the details of how you're selecting and when you're actually going to seat and empower the national committee. So my assumption in the notes I'm seeing so far indicate it looks to me like rules for the steering committee, for the temporary committee, if I'm seeing them correctly, so that everybody will understand the rules by which the deciding process will happen. And then later, after you all have got these terms down for your own operations as a temporary committee, then you'll go to work on the initial rules for the national committee. That's my understanding of it.
And Mike, I may be wrong, but the term executive committee has been used a couple of times. And in my head, just working with other parties, when we get to our first constitutional convention, will we be electing executive committee members then that will pretty much act as the steering committee going forward?
Well, this steering committee is going to make decisions about the initial choice of the national committee, which will be the permanent governing body of the party. And the executive committee of the national party is typically formed of just the officers who are chosen for the national committee. So they're given certain authorities to make decisions on a day-to-day basis in between the meetings of the whole national committee, so that it just like with many nonprofits, it sounds like you've got experience with the officers as a group are given authority to make a lot of the day-to-day decisions, and they don't have to come back to the board of directors for everything. And so that's probably what you'll want to do here as well, to give somebody that day-to-day managerial kind of authority. And the executive committee composed of the officers is the usual way. For political parties, they sometimes may include some other members if it's deemed necessary. I was head of the statewide Progressive Caucus in the Democratic Party here in Colorado. That seat got me into the state executive committee. So if you have important caucuses or groups that you want to give that kind of representation to, you can. But the risk is, of course, that then you wind up with another big committee that you have to convene every time you want to make day-to-day decisions. So, so yeah, the steering committee is temporary, national committee is permanent, and then a subset, the officers perhaps of the national committee, could serve as the executive committee of the national party.
I think we kind of have a national committee right now. Anyway,
I was gonna say.
So Timothy and Todd, y'all both have your hands up. I think y'all should just go for it. We're pretty ad hoc right now.
I was just going to say, keep it.
Sorry.
There's a delay in these phones, or mine anyway. It's annoying. I just keep in mind, maybe this, might be easier to just kind of look at us. We've got 22 on the call, as kind of looking towards us as the national committee. And I would suggest making decisions. It's only, with the group of the size, we can try to do the consensus thing. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, it sounds. Sorry, go ahead, Timothy.
I would suggest that we table this proposal for the permanent national or steering committee, because it sounds like this is not for a temporary committee anyway. This is kind of a proposal for permanent.
Yeah, I would agree. I would second that. And Todd, it sounds like this process kind of has to happen. If we want to just fast track it and vote on becoming the national committee, maybe that's doable, but I don't know. It doesn't sound like that's necessarily something that's advisable. Maybe we want to leave some more room for growth before we do that. I don't know how these things go.
I agree.
So,
yeah, I agree. I'm just saying, it seems like something to keep in sight.
Yeah.
That's all.
I agree. We can table this if there's no objections. Brother Harris, you want to call for that?
Okay. Do we have any objections to what's on the agenda so far?
I have a question. Okay, so I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm kind of lost. So I'm looking at what's on the screen. Are we seating the steering committee for the national committee? That's where I'm not following. And that's, if I could just get a brief.
Effectively, the folks here in this room are the steering committee.
Okay, because I put myself down as an observer unless I was needed.
Okay.
So am
Yeah.
I not like, so if I say, I just want to observe, I can still come to the meetings. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
And then I would just put something in the chat like, hey, I think we should be doing this, that, or the other.
Or even has to be recognized during a proper
Okay,
purpose
that's
agenda
where,
item. Yeah.
yeah, that's where, and like I said, I don't mean to sound like I'm ignorant, but when I don't know something,
No.
I will ask because I'm like, wait a minute. Got it. Thank you.
No, I mean, I think this is an exercise in creativity for us all. Like we're all here because we don't feel like what's been done has worked, right? So we're doing a new thing. That's a large part of the zeitgeist behind this. So that's why you
Very
have the
good.
steering committee so that we can debate and go back and forth about what a national party will ultimately look like, and do that over the term of months in lieu of a few weeks, so that we can really have input and grow and evolve. And from one week to a next, we might have a brand new idea about how that looks. So I'll go ahead and mute now.
And thank you for that, Israel. And just for the sake of time, I wanted to bring people's attention back to the agenda. We still have several of these proposals we want to get through. So at this time, I'm going to bring it back. Are there any objections?
I think this is kind of a backwards moment, but can we clarify, like, don't we need to kind of agree as a group how we're even agreeing on proposals? Like, are we voting versus just needing a second, and how that works to begin with?
Yeah, typically we do vote on it. Yeah, that if we're going by Robert's rules, typically everybody has a voice. We offer any objections. If there's no objections, it's first and seconded, and then we open it up to voting. Someone even suggested doing a thumbs up as your voice.
If you look at 9 and 10 on this agenda, that's addressed. That's coming up.
But
I have
shouldn't
some
we
ideas.
discuss it before we're adopting proposals?
Yes, we should, because we're in the process of doing that right now. So yeah, if everyone wants to just give a thumbs up once it's been first and seconded.
Well, hold
then
on. The thing is, we want to table this one that we've been talking about. Right?
And that's okay if we table that one. And it's not the whole proposal, it's just the part of the proposal that we're looking to table.
Were we looking to table this whole list of things because these are all sort of focused on the ultimate national committee that this committee is supposed to get together and form over time? Or are we looking at tabling one aspect of this list of proposals?
Yeah, good question, Joe.
Right?
To clarify, I proposed to table the one proposal that we were on. I think it totally makes sense that we probably should have started with the proposals about the rules, Jamie. I think we did it ad hoc and it seemed to be working, so that's okay, as long as it's working for everyone. I don't think there was a problem, but we probably should just jump to those and then come back. Is that?
Yeah,
I get that. We could do that.
What the process we're going through now is drafting proposals that we can include in the steering committee. And that's how the governance of this particular committee will move forward until we get to the national committee.
And Brother Paris, I think what they're asking, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, let's jump to proposal 9 that talks about the regular meeting agenda. And this is where we received a suggestion to put in here how proposals would be added to the agenda. And that's where we jumped the gun, but no worries. Let's fix maybe proposal 9 and 10 and then go back to the top, even though we've adopted 2 or 3 of them. So we don't sufficiency.
Sorry.
I'll second that.
Question. Well, okay, so I believe if we're going with Robert's rules, we have to finish proposal 3.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Proposal 3, it was first, it was, even though so as note taker, that's all I'm doing, and just to keep us on task, I'm gonna propose to be part of the secretary. So we were first talking about clarification, and then what we wanted to do was first at least table this.
Okay.
Right, so we were about to vote on tabling this. Jenny did call out an important fact that we haven't discussed how we were going to vote, whether it's thumbs up, and that was later down 9, 10, 11, as Dia discussed. And
Yeah,
we're now
sure.
trying to jump to that,
Well,
but it was already proposed that we vote on 3. And so I
But-
just didn't know if we needed to go back and finish that or,
But,
and then,
but
I
to
don't think
Janie's
so.
point, we never agreed to abide by Robert's rules or
Yeah.
any
So then-
particular like firsting, seconding,
and
or
that's
anything.
fair. Then that means if that is the logic, then the vote and adoption of proposal 1 and 2 are now nullified because we're now looking backwards and saying we're not doing any of this right. So how
I think
would we
that's
like
fair.
to move forward? That's all I'm asking, not trying to,
Go to
but
9 and
does that
10.
make sense?
I think we should start with 10 because technically the
Okay.
same thing will apply to 9 until we do 10.
Okay, that's it. That's all. Just trying to be a
Yeah.
consistent note taker. You guys go ahead.
All right, I'll
I have a
read.
suggestion. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Todd.
I have a suggestion for how it's simple in my mind how to decide on things. And I put it in the Slack, but I don't know, how many were involved with that. So whenever, if you want to hear, what's in my mind on that, I'd be happy to say it. I thought about this and there's a good way, I think,
Please.
rather than do all the Robert's rules stuff, because that can get, it can be used as a cudgel. So I don't suggest using Robert's rules. I suggest, and I'll be happy to talk about that if if we're there.
I'd love to hear the suggestion.
Pardon me?
I'd love to hear your suggestion.
Oh, I think very simply is you have an agenda, and that we have to talk about how the agenda is done. A lot of groups, so many groups, it's amazing to me. I don't think that should be a chair's response or authority to just decide what's on the agenda. I think that's terrible. I think for an agenda, people propose to the entire group, and right now we have 22, so it's not unwieldy at all. Through the Slack, I think you have to get kind of disciplined and look at the Slack every couple days or so. But okay, here's something I want to put on the agenda, and if the agenda doesn't get unwieldy, like you can't have 50 items, you deal with that as a group where you cut it off. But anyway, usually you'll have a few proposals.
Yeah, Todd, I think you made that suggestion and I just totally agree. That's why I think, now, first of all, we asked if we would accept the proposed agenda, and we did. Okay, that was democratic. So I agree on proposal 9, let's add how the agenda gets
Created.
created.
That's what
And
I was
that's
kind of
exactly what
addressing.
you're saying. So what I need to add here is that like for instance, if we move to every other week, we can put a deadline and say, okay, our next meeting is on Saturday. We need all proposals for the agenda by Monday. That'll give us time as the chairs to look at everything that came in and then send out a proposed agenda. And then if no one has a problem with it, we'll be ready for Saturday. Something like that. Let's put that in this proposal now and take open.
That's good. I just don't think, I don't think the chair should have authority to decide what gets on the agenda. That's what I'm saying. Okay.
And that's why I said, everybody send your proposals for the agenda. The chair will just collect that. And then by maybe Wednesday say, y'all, this is everything that's proposed.
Right.
And then if, like you said, hopefully we don't have so much that we can't get through in 90 minutes and it'll go on there.
Right.
That's a fair proposal. Everybody has an opportunity to give voice to the agenda. The chairman still drafts the agenda, make sure it's out there. People have a chance to either accept or decline, and then we'll move forward to Saturday. Now, real quick, I see 2 hands. First, we'll go to Timothy. Is your hand still raised, Timothy?
Yeah, my understanding is that we were moving forward with a democratically agreed consensus, and that's what we did for the accepting of these proposals and the first 2, and that we're now stuck on number 3 because it seems like it's for the national committee later on, which is why I suggested tabling it. And I guess I would only move forward and saying, let's please accept the first 2 table 3, move on to number 10, 9, or whichever order you want to go, and not waste time.
I agree with that.
That's
Because
good.
we still have to go back to 3. We're still up in the air with that and we're moving forward. So I agree with that. I'd like to
Well,
second that.
So Via, what would the
Can I-
question on 3 be then? What is the
Well,
question?
can I just back it up? Because we were talking about doing 10 before 9, because we haven't made any decision about how we vote. We never did agree on a democratic consensus process. And I don't know what that
Right.
means.
I was going to get to that.
Consensus means everyone agrees. Democrat means 50% agree. So like we do need to talk about those things clearly. I think we need to start with
Right.
question.
I was going to get to that.
Yeah.
We got the agenda, I think, but to vote, I have a proposal for that too. If any, if it's okay, if you want me to talk about it now.
Okay.
How do you decide?
Before
Get an
you do,
agenda.
Todd, before you do, we still want to recognize people who have had their hands up. Ashton.
Absolutely.
I think it's a few things here. Just one, we could just right next to the proposal, you can indicate whether the proposal is for the steering committee or national, just do like a slash. So the first two, I would argue that it's pretty benign. We did have a consensus on both of those. We did say that, if there was any objections, so since there was no objections raised, it was consensus. So I think those two are
Which
still
doesn't-
valid. And then on the third, I think we were just voting to table that. So we were agreeing to table that, and we could just write that. And then in regards to voting structure, since I do kind of agree with the consensus structure of like 100% of people have to agree, and if 100% of people don't agree, then it gets tabled essentially. So and I know that I see the
further
2/3
discussion.
for further discussion and editorialize or whatever it is. But yeah, I don't know. That's where I stand with it.
Yeah, appreciate your input, Yasha, and then we'll hear from Elias.
Yes. So I think I agree that what we did with the first two is perfectly fine, and that we should formalize parts of that. So like the first, second, ask about objections. If there's no objections, that implies consensus and we don't have to vote. I love that. Because if we have to vote on everything by like counting hands, even though we know there were no objections, like that's just a waste of time. But if we can't convince one person of something, we can't just indefinitely table it until we can convince someone. I think like at some point, someone has to be able, if there was an objection, then there's some discussion. Someone has to at some point be able to call for a vote.
Okay. Go ahead, Elias.
Hey, so how's everybody doing today? Yeah, I just was thinking about as far as the consensus versus democracy type of aspect of things. I think that's a tricky one, but I also think that it would be hard to get 100% consensus on just about anything. So, I mean, it's a good theory, but it's like in practice, I don't know how that practically would be. Maybe we could do like 2/3 of people, or but then we have to make sure it's 2/3 of the room or something. I don't know how we would. That is tricky. So I guess I don't mean to muddy the waters or anything, but I think, but definitely I will say I don't know about trying to get 100% of people to agree to everything, because that would be kind of slow things down, I think.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that point. And we'll go to Janie. Janie, then Ashton, then Tracy.
I was just thinking that giving some sort of vote, again, doesn't necessarily have to be 100% or 2/3 or 50%, but whatever we decide on, probably gives people like an easier way to put their opinion in versus asking for objections. Because like I feel like someone stepping up to object to something probably puts people on the spot more, and not everybody might feel comfortable with that like all the time. So I think giving like a way to vote and see if we reach that whatever majority or number we agree on, probably, like, I don't know if that makes sense, gives another way for people to put that opinion out versus having to say like, I object to something.
Okay, thank you for your voice. Ashton, Tracy, then Yasha again. Go ahead, Ashton.
Well, I'm going to say something right quick, Paris. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead and interject as long as it's on
I'm
this
sorry.
point.
I don't think we're going to get very far if we're able to constantly keep commenting on the same proposal. I think we maybe need to limit it to maybe 2 times. You can speak on a proposal so we can get through more proposals.
And if the committee agrees, we can adopt that.
I mean, I can get in a proposal later, but I'm just saying for meeting efficiency, we got to move on. We can't spend our whole 90 minutes or whatever on one proposal. If we have to table it because we have to bring back additional analysis or research, and when people call for things to be tabled, I think people should be responsible to bring back that research and analysis to update that proposal.
Either that, or again, there needs to be someone who is taking notes, and it's that person's responsibility to make sure we keep those notes so that we can accept them right in the next meeting once they're read. So that way, whatever proposal or whatever issue is on the table, that can come up during the next meeting. We can vote on it at that time. Do we have a note taker?
I think
I'm taking notes too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay,
I nominate. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Ashton.
Oh yeah, so I was gonna say I was gonna be the. I said in the Slack I could be the secretary / note taker. So, but Dee's doing that today, so thank you so much.
No,
So,
I wanted to be
Overview.
co. So like I
Yeah.
said, if in the event that you get the sniffles and can't be here, you know, that would be the thing that I wanted to do. But since it's all, I figure we can never have too many note takers.
I agree.
No, yeah, 100%. No, I appreciate your
Okay.
stepping up. But my okay, so let's see what I kind of figured that my position would be a little bit of a spicy take. So I think like that maybe we
hold
should
on real quick,
Yeah.
Ashton. If you're going to propose something or talk about something different, we have
Oh, no, it's-
hands. We need to
they-
address those hands first. Is it about this particular issue on the table?
yeah, proposal 10, right?
Uh-huh.
No, we're on.
Yeah.
Well, not even proposal 10, just the conversation about how we want to move forward.
On voting, right? Specifically on that.
Yeah, it's around 10. Ashton's talking about the consensus, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's in regards to consensus or democratic vote or 2/3, go ahead.
Yes. I think, I mean, I like the idea. I figured we're probably going to default down to 2/3. I don't have a problem. I'm not trying to be a hardliner about it, but I do think ideally we have everybody have a complete consensus. And since it is a steering committee, I like slowing it down a bit just to make sure that we're not going to have to retrace our steps later, you know, if there were some grievances and all this, all the rest of it. But yeah, I can agree to a 2/3 at least for the time being. So
Okay. I don't know if we're ready to vote on that. I want to hear from Tracy. I think we should hear from Tracy and then Todd, and then decide on whether or not we want to vote. Tracy?
Okay, so the only thing I want to caution, let me lower my hand. Again, not to sound like a Debbie Downer, but seems like that's my role today.
No, man.
If we keep tabling things, we're never gonna get done. With what we're doing, and you know, we have a national committee. I mean, you know, you don't want to rush into the process. You definitely don't want to rush. You want to be as pragmatic as possible. But if we keep tabling things and putting off things, that's gonna make the journey longer. So I would caution everybody, you know, if you're going to suggest something be tabled, to at least come up with an alternative.
Exactly.
Because we need, you know, I'm a person, I need definite, even though I'm an observer, I need steps. Like, Tracy, we want you to do this. We want you to do that. And if we keep tabling them, my fear is we're going to make this process longer than it actually needs to be. So I would just caution, you know, we need to figure out how we're going to vote, which shouldn't take long. And we need to figure out how we're going to move forward, because if we keep delaying and delaying and tabling, we could be here in 2027 still trying to figure out what we're trying to do. And that's not what I signed up for. That's all.
And that's what I'm hearing, Tracy, is people are making proposals of, like, you know, we've heard the 100%, we've heard the 2/3%. So at this point, if no one has any other suggestions on how to make these meeting decisions, maybe we're ready to go ahead and do some kind of a vote, whether it's by consensus or we actually have to do a vote. But I'm hearing people making suggestions, so let's make the decision, please.
Yeah, and before we do that one vote, again, I said that Todd would have an opportunity to interject. So Todd at this time, and then we'll go to the vote. So Todd.
Okay, thanks. I think it's a bad idea to limit discussion. Let's see how it works. Ideally, what we want to do is everyone to be in agreement in the sense that there's not any strong dissent. If there is strong dissent, again, you have 22, 23 people here, then we should discuss it more, I submit. So
Todd, can I
well,
there's
I'm
only
not done yet.
really there's only 12 committee members, so only the 12 members have a voice and an opportunity to vote on it. Number one. Number two, we do have to consider time. Time is an element that we are.
But let's see.
We have to
Let's
work
see.
within.
We're not.
If it's an
I agree with that.
If it's an important issue and we do need to think about it longer, we probably need to put that on. We need to table that particular item. But as we're in meetings, we do need to move forward. We do need to vote, and we do need to come to either consensus or 2/3.
But can we please let Todd finish his thought there?
Thank you. Here's the deal. Okay, I can see this. You have the agenda. Okay, so that's the first thing you got to decide on, and I think we have a working agreement on that. You know that we have the chairperson. We're going to submit by a certain time. Everything's going to go on the agenda, and then, you know, we can discuss at the meeting. If there's too much, we'll have to limit it. Okay, so you got the agenda.
Okay.
The other thing is,
wait a minute,
okay,
Todd. Wait a minute. Can
how
I
are you going to deal with each agenda item? I suggest.
Todd, hold on. First of all, these are not bylaws.
But I didn't get there again.
Everybody keeps saying that we shouldn't rush into things. These are not bylaws. These are just some kind of, this is a proposal that can be reversed next meeting. So please don't worry about, these are not bylaws.
I know that, but I didn't finish.
This is just something for us to do today. I'm sorry, y'all, but we cannot keep on this any longer.
I got stopped again.
We can't. So I gotta jump in because we definitely should have started with 10. That's okay. We can stop talking about like we're sidelining too much. 10 is the first thing that has to happen. We cannot like table 10 and move on to something else. I think we need more time to think about 10 because we don't have a construct for how we're about to vote. Because is there a three-way vote between like consensus, 2/3, 100%? Do we vote on two full proposed? Because there's also the question of, do we always have to call for a vote, or is it enough? Do we want people to be able to say like objection? That was raised. So along those axes, we need a way to decide like, are we voting on things one at a time? And how does that coalesce into a full proposal that gets final approval? And I think we need to think about that in Slack and vote on it next week. I don't think we can solve it in
No. Yasha, if someone wants to make a proposal on how to make meeting decisions, please make the proposal. If that's the first thing we need to do, let's do that today. So that
I'm trying.
But we can't take another week to determine
I
how
didn't
to make
say
Todd, you're
decisions.
that.
talking about agenda. We only need to talk about decisions first.
Right, I was trying to get to that. You know, I've
Okay,
got a
Todd,
proposal for
you're
that.
talking a lot. You're talking a lot, Todd. I'm sorry, and we're running out
What,
of time.
me?
We've been
Me?
1 hour.
Okay, all right.
We've been 1 hour.
Here we go again. I would
Please,
think we can
make
do
it
this.
sweet. Make it sweet. Make it quick. Make it sweet. We've been through 1
Well,
hour.
you're talking a lot, with all due respect. I have a proposal. Let me just step back. There's two things. There's the agenda and there's the decision making. And I think we're trying to formulate how to do that. We got the agenda pretty good. Decision making, that's the next thing to discuss. I do not believe they should limit discussion. If we don't
I
come
don't
to an
think we got the
agreement or
agenda.
a
We have
consensus,
like
be it 3/4, 2/3, 100%, then
Correct.
we go to the next week if we have
It's going to be almost
Okay.
impossible to get through an agenda without being able to make decisions. There's no use in just going through an agenda and no decisions have been made. That's not doing business.
Right.
Okay. So either propose how we make decisions, or we can go with something as close as everybody likes today, and we can reverse it next week when someone else presents a different proposal.
What's the end time of this meeting? Do we have a half
30
hour, an
minutes.
hour? Are we done?
We have 30 minutes left, and
Oh,
we
okay.
are not through a lot of our agenda. And I'm sorry.
We've got a
Okay,
lot
so
done. though.
I will make the proposal because you asked me to make the proposal.
please.
I think what's on here is good, except I don't think that we should have to vote every time. Like I think the don't object thing, I stand by that. I like the point is taken that sometimes there's a bit of a like it's awkward to object. But if we have a vote and like only 2 people voted no, they're going to have to defend that anyway. You are just effectively objecting. And you will have to like make an argument about why. So I think I think 2/3 is cool with me. I'd like just an up and down yes, no vote on if we'd like to do the process exactly is someone first to the proposal, someone seconds. There's a question for objections, a couple seconds. If there is an objection, there's an indefinite amount of discussion, which we probably need more rules about eventually, but not now. If there's no objections, then it passes. And if there is objections and there's discussion, then we don't know yet at what point the vote has to happen. But at some point there has to be a vote, and it's 2/3 consensus.
Okay, Yasha, is that a proposal, and do you want to present it as such?
Yes, and
Okay.
sure.
Or Yasha, can I update this one? That says votes will be conducted by thumbs up or thumbs down, and we take any dissent. We'll have to explain why they have done a dissent, and then after that, we do the decision by 2/3 vote. Is that what you just said? And I can add it to that?
Yes.
Okay, let me add
That
it.
sounds great. And just to clarify, votes are the seated members of the committee
Okay, by
voters.
seated members of the committee
who are present at the time of the vote.
who are present at time of vote by thumbs up or thumbs, whoops, I missed it, by thumbs up or thumbs down. And then we can say any dissent will be given opportunity to describe their dissent. Is that right?
Yep.
Before the vote. And again, these are not bylaws. These are things we can change if it hits the agenda. Someone comes with another proposal to fix that. These are not
Yeah.
bylaws.
And I think eventually we'll need rules about like how discussion turns into voting, but like this is enough of a construct for us to move through the other agenda items here and leave that for another time, hopefully.
Okay, can we have a clear proposal? It wasn't clear on, or is it being written now?
Yeah, I think we're
I'll read
writing
it out. I'll read it out.
We're writing it, and I'll read it, and then we'll ask for a first and second.
Go
May
ahead,
I
Bryce.
ask, sorry to interrupt, but is there a way to track changes on this document so we understand which changes were created during which meetings, anything like that? Just
You know what I'm going to do, Via? I'm going to either, this particular one is going to be, you know, because we're in the situation we are. Where today we weren't prepared, but going forward, you guys can put together these kinds of documents any way you want. And if you want to do it with version control through Google Docs or whatever format, I'm just kind of wanting to do this today because we just didn't have time to make that decision.
I believe Docs has history by default, so I think we
And
already.
I don't think I have it turned on, Yasha. That's the
Oh,
problem.
okay.
So,
No,
okay.
that's cool. More power to you. I approve of that.
I'm sorry. So Brother Paris, do you want to
Yeah,
get that?
I'll go ahead and read Proposal 10, meeting decisions. Every attempt must be made to first agree to decisions by consensus. Thereafter, decisions will, we want to put a will there, either be made by 2/3 of the seated committee members, either in attendance by proxy, if a proxy ballot is provided in advance, or tabled for further research/analysis. Tabling a decision cannot be used to delay a vote. Votes will be conducted by seated members of the committee who are present at the time of vote by thumbs up or thumbs down. Any dissent will be given an opportunity to describe their dissent before the vote.
I mean,
Okay, that's
I think I already kind of gave my other opinion, just that we shouldn't rely on people giving the objection. We should go to the vote. So I just want to put that out there, that that is something I've already stated. And I think that proposals and group decisions should be made by vote. I don't think it's really a huge deal to have to count like 8 thumbs or whatever.
Okay, got it.
Okay, I have no problem with changing to we vote on everything. Let's just do that. And the only clarification I'd like is tabling a decision cannot be used to delay a vote. I'm not sure how like you kind of decide that that's what's going on or not. That effectively does happen. There's no way to avoid it except for the other rules, I feel like, you know.
The way you determine that someone is tabling a decision to delay a vote is they don't have a proposal. They can't provide any reason why. You know, why do you want to table it? You know what I mean? So that's the simple question, why? And if they say, well, I need to do more research and analysis, they become the person responsible for bringing that research and analysis. We table it because it is important to get the research and analysis.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
okay. With that said, the proposal is on the table. Do we have a first and second?
First.
Ashton?
Have a discussion.
Okay, yeah, we can't move to a vote if there's a discussion, so.
Yes, we can,
Right.
because discussion
Second.
is closed, okay?
Why? Who
When you
made that
said what you're
arbitrary
gonna take,
decision? That's
when
I
you
have a real problem with that.
What
when you said
arbitrary,
when
what
you said
arbitrary
we were going to
decision?
take a few more
Because
people discussing,
I'm not
if
being
you have
allowed to
a
speak.
proposal, we can keep modifying this proposal, but there's, you know, no more just random discussion.
It's not random. He wants to give his
No,
opinion.
no, there's no random discussion. I have a proposal, but I feel
I'm
very
sorry, I didn't hear
pressured
that.
not to speak and that you want to move on. And I have a real trouble with that whole process of just getting the vote in, getting it done when somebody wants to contribute more and discuss more. That's now, if you don't want to do that, if we want to just cut off discussion, I'll dissent. So
Well,
I'll just
the
vote
thing
no.
is, Todd, this is what I would like. If people want to reverse this proposal for next week, please put a proposal in Slack so that we can vote on it and reverse.
I did
this.
that.
Okay, so for next week, we can reverse this proposal, but today we have to get a few things done. And we don't have
that's okay. Well, I have a response, but I don't know if
that's
you want to
life.
hear it.
That's life, Todd. We don't have unlimited time.
When
I
we
wouldn't-
went
And hey,
over
real
the
quick,
plan for the national committee, Mike suggested that we tackle one big issue per meeting. This is a big issue, and I don't think that we should skip over it because we need to do 10 more things.
Okay, so let's do this.
Absolutely.
Let's do this. Pick out the proposals that we must tackle today, because we need co-chairs and secretaries in place
we've done
next week. So let's tackle the ones, let's pick out the ones, which proposals?
Just
and-
10. Just 10. That's the only one we need to do. And we can't do anything else until we finish it. Literally.
Well,
we can't.
actually, we need co-chairs and secretaries.
We can't
Can't
vote
pick a
on
co-chair
co-chairs
until
until
we
we
decide
figure
how
out
we're
how to
voting.
vote. Yeah.
So that's what we're gonna do. So let's do proposal 10 today. Let's elect or select our co-chairs, our secretaries, and everything else gets tabled to next week. How about that?
Okay.
We can do interim too, interim chairman. We can do that without maybe getting through 10.
Let's just
I'm
keep
getting
talking about 10
exhausted. 10
until
is
everyone
a
has
big one.
said everything they want to say. And if we have to not vote on chairs until next week, that's fine too. But 10 has to happen. Everyone has to get heard. Let's keep going.
So who's gonna facilitate the meetings next week?
If you're
Maybe
willing to do
go
it,
back
Dee,
Mike if we
um,
need to.
I'm sorry, who, I didn't hear what.
I don't know why you're bringing what that has to do with what we're,
Because
that feels like a
that's the
sideball.
purpose, because that's the purpose of selecting or electing the co-chairs and the secretaries next week, so that we are moving in a direction with some kind of organization. Just like with these proposals, who's going to put together proposals next week? Who's going to put the right platform out so that we're tracking the decisions?
I hope
Who
we
do you
can get
select
to
those people?
selecting the chairs this week. I hope we can get to selecting the chairs this week.
Okay,
We
that's
can't
what I'm
do
saying.
anything until we finish 10. That's all I'm
That's
saying.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying too, is if
Okay.
we commit to 2 things, but we gotta commit. If we can
We can't commit to,
2 things,
we got to
then
commit
let's
to
commit to
finishing
getting-
10. If 10 gets done, we can do other things. If it doesn't,
No,
we
we can't.
cannot.
We cannot, because we won't have a chair and a secretary next week. We have to commit.
We
to-
can't vote on a
God.
chair. We don't know how to vote.
So let's commit to getting proposal
10
10
done.
done, and let's commit to selecting, electing our chairs. We
Let's
have 2 things
Carve
down,
time to actually hear people's opinions.
because this is meeting number 4. And
For
we need
what?
to move forward to getting
Yeah,
work.
I don't think
Okay,
we're
hey,
gonna have
folks,
we
folks,
have no
folks.
shortage of volunteers for
Hey.
next week's meeting.
Hey,
Like,
everyone.
Yeah.
I think I agree. Let's close 10 so we can figure out how we make decisions moving forward. And then from there, you guys can vote on whatever you need. But right now, we're moving out of a cordial meeting here.
yeah,
And
and
we're
that's
running out of
I
time.
agree.
Thank
I
you.
And we're
agree.
running out of time.
I agree.
real quick. What we need to learn how to do, and again, we're all adults here, not mitigating your maturity, but we need to make sure our discussions are respectful and professional. Instead of over talking one another, you can bring your passion, but there's a way to have conversations around what we agree on and what we don't agree on. So again, regardless of how we choose to move forward, the decorum has to be in place. Absolutely. So with that said,
Raise hands.
what's that? Someone said something?
I was
Todd?
just saying raise hands might be better.
Yeah, raise hands. And again, we have 2 people
Yeah.
who
I think the
had their
hand
hands up
raising
for
would be
quite a
helpful.
while. I see you, Steve. Real quick, Steve, is it regarding proposal 10? Steve?
Not specifically, but I think I can speak very briefly and it might help the discussion.
Might help this particular discussion on proposal 10?
Yes.
Okay.
If you look at the top of the agenda, there's some very important items, and people have been talking about not limiting discussion. Well, that would be fine if it was a 10-hour meeting, but we have only 15 minutes left for all these important items. And it seems to me that if we're passionate about the kind of things that Dr. Cornel West was, we need to not get bogged down in the parliamentary procedure and maybe give this to a committee to iron out or something. But I hope that all the meetings aren't this way, because it's too trivial the way, that's how I look at it. That's all I had to say. Thank you.
And you know, just to address that, part of a meeting, there needs to be a timekeeper, right? Someone says, hey, listen, we're at the end of that time. Now, do we want to table it? Do we want to continue to discuss it, knowing that we're going to bump all the other issues on the agenda? So we have to make sure, and I'll propose that for the agenda moving forward. Thank you. Via.
I want to first off and foremost, I thank everyone for your time, energy, and passion for this.
Right.
But we are running out of time. So for proposal 10, what I would like to do, if we are so able, I would like to propose we make this our number one thing that we agree on, but I think it should be taken to the Slack so everyone has a voice. I want everyone to begin this process feeling that they are heard. And I don't feel that that's being done right now. And I do understand that we can't table everything, but the important things such as how we vote, when we vote, and everything like that, we really need to have a thorough understanding of that. And I don't want it to feel rushed, and I don't want people to feel that, they can't be heard. I want all of this to be done with love, compassion, all that good stuff. And that's just, I would like to propose that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Via. With that, we'll go to Timothy, and if no one else, we'll see where we are. Timothy?
I'd like to second proposal 10 and call for a vote.
Okay. It has been proposed first and seconded. Do we have any objections to number 10?
I would object respectfully at this point.
We do have an objection. Did you want to state why? Because that's part of number 10. You're going to state why. Please share that at this time.
Okay. Discussion is not completed. You have some people that feel, including myself, that this is not right yet. We want to be in agreement. There's too much tension right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we need more discussion, and I'm thinking of trauma and healing and stuff, but we need more discussion.
Okay, so
rather than just shoot something through.
There is an objection on the table. We shared in number 10 that if we don't have 100% consensus, we'll go to 2/3. So the vote is still on the table. Are there any other objections before we go to the vote?
I mean,
And
I
again,
already objected, so the fact that then you're asking for objections kind of makes me feel like my objection didn't get counted as an objection.
well, it hadn't been first or seconded before you objected. Now that you are objecting, it's official because it's been first, seconded, and now we have 2 objections. And we want to make sure we note that, Ashton, that both Todd and Janie have objected.
They're noted. Yes, I got it.
Okay. Any other objections?
Yasha has his hand up. Is he allowed to talk again?
Oh,
Yeah,
now,
well-
Janie, well, hey, real quick, you guys, stop the sniping.
I
This
know,
is about
I mean,
a
I'm
meeting.
being
Yeah,
legitimate.
of course,
Are we still allowing this?
Of course he does. If he has an objection, Yasha,
I
do you have an
I'll
objection?
object to my own thing because Vea's right, I think. Like, if we don't feel like we've all had the time and to think this through, or we suspect that maybe other people in Slack would want to pitch in as well, I think we should table it and put it as in Slack, ask if anyone has any changes to propose. But just with the caveat that we all understand that means that the rest of this meeting is discussion only. We cannot vote on anything. We can't decide anything.
Right on. That's beautiful.
Okay, that's 3 objections. We still have an opportunity to reach 2/3.
But the thing is, we haven't agreed that 2/3 means anything. So
And we haven't even agreed if people in Slack have the opportunity to still be on the steering committee.
Yeah, we did. I think Israel made that plain at the beginning of the meeting. They do have an opportunity to be on the steering committee. They're not here to give voice, however, to what's being proposed. So we've got 3 notable objections. They did say why they objected, which is, again, part of what we're trying to conclude. And I see Reginald from San Francisco.
Yes, it's sort of like a chicken of the eggs things. I mean, you can't have a chicken before the egg, so we got to have an egg first and just vote. You know what I'm saying? If anybody wants to change it, of course we can come back next week or whenever to change it. We're going to vote today, so let's just do it. I mean, it's not going to be written in stone. We can always change it. Of course, we're going to let you participate and change it if you want to. But we gotta take a first step here. We can't just anticipate. What if we get too wet? What if we get hurt? I mean, come on, let's work. Thank you.
So for posterity reasons, let's go ahead and if there are no other objections, let's go ahead and vote with our thumbs up or thumbs down at this time. Everybody knows where the reaction is, where you can put your thumbs up or thumbs down. Go ahead and do that, and then we'll count. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I only saw 4 thumbs up. That's definitely not a 2/3.
Okay, we'll continue to work on it. Got a proposal in writing there. I just don't think everyone's been heard, so we want to be on the same page, unified.
Okay.
Okay,
well,
and again, Todd, that's duly noted. I appreciate you reiterating that. So we don't have a passing of the proposal. So it sounds like we're going to put it in Slack and have people give voice to it in Slack. Come back next week and be prepared to vote on it. And once we have that drafted officially, we can move forward with the rest of the proposals. Is that
Sounds
fair?
good to me.
Is that fair? Okay, I see Ashton's hand up. Ashton?
Yeah, I just so it does seem like the dissent is if there is any dissent at all. So it does seem like we're looking for 100%. So like if that's the frame, it's like you either argue for your proposal from 100% consensus or 2/3 or whatever fraction is your fancy. So that's all.
Yeah, there's a caveat. If it isn't 100%, then it is 2/3. So we do have both options in the proposals. At this time, I think we've talked about it enough. We'll go ahead and put it in Slack, and please give voice to it. And if there's any other proposals you want us to consider, please go ahead and share those. That way we have an opportunity to address them as well. Okay, so with the proposals off the table, real quick, I see Israel. Israel, your hand is up.
Yes, I just want to be respectful of our time as we're closing out
Yes.
on the time here. I think that's a great idea to continue this discussion. In Slack, I will send summaries out both of this meeting and upload the recording for you guys. I know that in many ways today was frustrating, but you know what? It is that tension that is how true democracy works. So it's
Right.
it's a
Right.
beautiful thing to see. And hey, if we didn't get the votes, that's the beautiful part about it, right? So we continue to discuss it until we find whatever that way is for it. Go ahead, Ashton, because I'm gonna close out. So
Yeah, one last say, I saw Yasha's comment in the Slack of the office hours idea, just having, spaces that people could talk at. I love that idea. I think we should, I'm going to think of ways I can carve out a piece of my schedule for that. But I do have the Wednesday meetings like every other week for Washington. So I'll just put the link for that in the in the same channel there. So if anybody wants to go to that, we are going to try to stay talking about Washington, but everyone's welcome to, of course, come to that. That's between 6 and 6:55 every second Wednesday. So I'll put that information in there. So it was great talking with everybody, of course.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. We'll be getting a lot of the individual states jumping and going. So I'll be reaching out to you, Yasha, about Massachusetts in short order to sort of stand up our state committees. I think we already have the 50-person designation there. We just now need to start planning for the 1,000 for full state party status. So that is a great portrait about that. And then I don't know, guys. It's messy, but it's beautiful in the same point. You know, at some point in time, I thought I had to put on a referee hat, but we all made it out. So that's the beautiful part about it. Dia, Paris, thank you. Mike and I will make ourselves available, and then if Todd, Jay, Starks, that is, and Rebecca. And is Mike still here? Mike, if you guys could hang back for me, please. I would greatly appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Any other?
No problem.
This is a
I
good
thank you for the
thing.
input. I just really want everybody to
Yeah.
know, I thank you all for your input, and I thank you for all of this.
Thank you, Via.
Right on. Love
Yes,
y'all.
thank you,
Thank you,
Via.
Via. Thank you, Dia. Thank you, Paris.
Thank you, Yasha. Thank you, everyone else on the call, and thank you, Israel.
Thank you, Brother Paris.
Everyone come back. Look at
Yes.
the Slack, come back.
All right, you guys have a
can do
good
it.
rest of the
Okay.
week. Yes, have a good rest of the week.
Don't let Todd scare you. I fight with him on Slack all the time. He's not that scary.
David said nothing but love. Nothing but love for you.
All right. See everyone next week. Bye.
Thank you, Ashton. All right, so Rebecca didn't stay with us. Let's see here. 1 second. So Mike and I have ideas, one about a rules committee in general. And so that's why I asked you two Esquires and Rebecca, who is in California, has offered to be of good help to us too. And then Jay is in Illinois, Mike, so he'll likely head whatever effort we have there. And then Todd's agreed to be an officer with JFA California. So we'll put him together with Stanley and Dr. Abdullah on that team there, and Eric and those. But I really just wanted to kind of put that idea out there, because ultimately we want to have sort of like a fast response team that can help with various states. Brother Mike does lots and lots of work for us and many other organizations, but it's quite a bit on his plate. So we want to try to put a team of, and not just lawyers, legal aides like his brilliant wife, Dana, and other folks around to be able to help with, especially ballot access and other things that become a heavier lift. And I don't want to over talk for you, Mike, if you want to jump in here, but just obviously you guys came to mind as, some of the first folks we'd like to talk to about that.
Sounds good.
Yeah, a rules committee, I think today demonstrated for everybody the value of a rules committee for a convention, for example, would have the job of agreeing